are telling people go out and get fat versus a Lizzo who's saying accept me the way I am.
She's not just saying accept me the way I am.
Chat, is being fat a choice or not? You know what, chat? You know what, chat? Here's my take. I don't give a fuck. But here's the other take. I think for most... No, I think for a small portion of people, it is not a choice. For a very small portion. Another portion,
dressing extremely scantily.
It's not a choice, but a consequence. Right? At least, fuck it. Actually, the rest of them probably consequences of their actions and choices.
Clad and then saying if you don't think that it's normal for a morbidly obese person to be wearing a G-string in the middle of public, then you're the problem.
What did you say? Plus size, skinny. If the video is fat, why is it plus size? Why not just say fat? Okay, hold up. The video already starts on the bad foot. The title of the video is being fat a choice? But then they look at the people and it's skinny plus size. It should be skinny, fat.
Being fat or skinny is a choice.
Wow. People really think, you know, I think it's because people that watch this show are like radicalized libtards. I'm gonna say how it is because there's no way that 60% of people say it no. Otherwise, what do you mean no? What do you mean no? That would mean, chat, this would mean that you live life and you're just on autopilot and you have no say in anything you do. Because one of the things that, fortunately or unfortunately, this is one of the things about you that you control the most. This is a result of multiple actions that you're partaking in. It has nothing to do with exercise. Most of the weight comes from diet. Almost all of it is just caloric intake. If you do not intake calories, you do not go fat. It's just, you learn this in like 7th grade, I think. 7th grade. Not everything is gained. No. Nothing is gained, nothing is lost, everything is transformed.
Agreed.
Let's do a poll in chat. Is being fat a choice? Yes? No?
I had no choice but to eat that 20-piece KFC bucket, lil bro, shut up.
Damn. See, I don't want to alienate a lot of people that said no. Because I do think that depending on your own circumstances, it is a no. I think this is the correct ratio. I generally think this is almost an accurate ratio. Because for some people, they are not wrong. It is not a choice. Some people are born with like diabetes and some problems that are genetic that they can't fix, and it's really, really shitty. Like,
was it a choice for NVM?
Some people have genetic problems. Yeah, it's still caloric intake.
It isn't a...
Generally, though. What was the question?
Agreeers?
Oh wow, they all went on no. Well, that's
of course, not every factor is purely choice. I don't think that every factor is, but I do think a majority of it is. And in most cases, for most people, being skinny or being fat is about willpower. It's about the environment you grow up in, sure, but who you choose to associate with, what sort of things you choose to listen to, who you choose to kind of have as your friends around you and support you.
He's cooking something.
All of those things are choices that
in his case, he's cooking something. He's also eating what he's cooking, but he's definitely cooking something here, boys.
That will lead you closer towards being one or the other.
I know what I do with my body. I know what I put into it, day in and day out. I choose not to eat
cooked hard here, boys.
I choose, how I want to look.
He said.
And I don't fault anyone for how they want to look or how they want to be, but I think it's a choice at the end of the day. I'm very, always wish-washy on how I want to be presented and if I want to gain weight or not. But the only person that's going to gain the weight at the end of the day is me and me myself.
For me, it's calories.
Guys, I'm not going to disregard how easy some people have it. Okay, I'm very blessed. I have a very high, very fast metabolism. Okay, even if I tried to get fat, I would have to try deliberately, and I would have to do everything in my willpower to get fat. That's just the. If I just coasted, no way I get fat. I have to literally try my very best, and even then, it would be hard. So I'm blessed with that. So I won't disregard the people that try that can't or having troubles because I'm blessed.
Using calories out, go to the gym, you'll get buff. Don't go to the gym, you won't get buff. I understand that there's genetics that could cause you to want to eat more, but even with the genetics that cause you to want to eat more, the same solution is calories in, calories out.
I think the whole choice is, always determined on who they are. And it's not going to just be a thing done overnight.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of, I think it's like breaking the barrier and breaking a lot of things, not only your body, but also breaking your mental state.
Sure.
And again, that depends on who you are and what you want to go through.
Disagreeers?
All right, let's see it. Let's hear it. Here comes Pepe laughing emoji con.
What am I doing aware?
I felt like as a toddler, I always viewed myself as big. I grew up in a very poor home, so where my mom couldn't provide the meals that she could healthily. So when we would get free meals, even then it would be canned food, and it would be very much food that's not as edible. It was food for us, yes, but then I felt like once it reached a point where I was old enough to try to make my own choices, I made all of the wrong choices. I wasn't eating, and I was only eating grapes and lettuce, and that was mainly because I was in a sport, and that sport just worked me out so hard. And it was to the point where I just was scared to eat. I didn't like it. I would only drink water.
When you were eating grapes and lettuce, were you thin?
I was the thinnest I could be.
What's interesting is that she describes what you would qualify as choice. She's literally describing the word choice. Yet she says no to the prompt that says choice. So what the fuck am I watching?
Were you still big though?
I was still big, but that was the skinniest I've ever been. And that's coming from somebody who was only eating somewhat salads that are just fruit and lettuce and water and maybe ice right before a practice.
Do you think that right now you would not be capable of becoming a thin woman if you wanted to?
Possibly
no
would
shot.
be
Sorry,
capable
no
of becoming
shot.
a thin woman.
Sorry, no shot. No shot. Okay, no shot. Is that what she said? She was only eating lettuce and water and no shot. Because from what I know anyway, from guys, maybe guys I'm miseducated, okay? Something that I read or I watched somewhere was that whenever you're in caloric deficiency or whatever, right? And you are, let's say, fasting or doing better with your weight and your intake, whenever you're in deficit and then you do eat dog shit, right? It'll come back really fucking fast, and you're gonna get clapped by that one or two mishap that you're doing. That's how I heard it anyway.
But since I was young, I was supposed to get blood tested probably when I was very, very young, and I never did. And they had mentioned that it could have been because of my weight and how that connects with my thyroid.
Because of the reserves.
I never made the connection, and I never had that leaning parent to be go and get checked out, go and do this, your weight is probably not your fault. It was always your weight is your fault, so that's your issue.
I mean, I also struggle with thyroid and my own blood issues. I'm not quite sure, but I do see an endocrinologist and I go see a doctor. It's a choice to do the requisite steps. It's a choice to go grocery shopping instead of going to fast food when it's easy. It's a choice when you're grocery shopping to go to the outer aisles and not go into the bread section and not go into the junk food section. These are all choices.
As a disabled woman, I can't.
100 stones, 100 pebbles on the sea.
Women who used to be considered definitely a choice. Just stop fucking eating, end of story. When it comes to human anatomy and or physiology, being fat there is not such thing as naturally fat. Just lose weight.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you ate right there. You ate just the right amount, apparently. Good job.
Do a lot of the things that people say, calories in, calories out, oh, you gotta go
Things
work
that
out
have
and
it,
exert
masala.
it. A lot of the things that are typical, oh, this is how you lose weight, put me in the hospital. I have to navigate weight differently. I have to look at it differently. My weight is the way it is because of medication, because doctors put me in this position. And I had to learn, okay, am I going to be so hateful of my own body that I am going to backlash and put myself through?
Yeah, but okay. Again, guys, this is gonna sound really out of touch, and I'm sorry about that. Okay, yes, the medication it might do that or push you to that, but not every person that is on that medication is probably overweight or fat, because some people will do the right things to not eat, because at the end of the day, again, the meds, the little pills, don't give you calories. You still have to intake the calories in order to get that fat. The pills don't say 2,000 grams of fat. Like, no.
Extreme gym nights,
You still have to eat it.
through keeping myself from eating things that I should be able to eat. You should be able to have a balance. You should be able to go into the junk food aisle like other skinny people do and still not have to worry about gaining 20 pounds.
But I don't think skinny people go
all people.
into this junk food
No,
aisle.
they
certainly
yes,
do.
they do.
I eat a lot of junk food.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, my DoorDash would tell you otherwise.
Guys, I should be allowed to drink 6 beers back to back like the other guy and not get fucked up. I should be allowed to. Okay, but as a lightweight, okay, my bad, you guys, the mic is
Hello,
bugged out.
Mr. Lentil.
I
It is
know
my
for a
choice
fact
to subscribe
that
to
I
you
can't
for
handle that,
45
so I
months.
don't do that.
Will you make the choice
There's
to
a thing
welcome
called
me to
set
the
points.
jungle?
There's a ton of research on it.
XQCL.
That your body likes to be at specific weights. It likes to be in a specific way. So if you are fighting yourself to lose weight by not eating, over exercising, and you are damn near killing yourself to be at a specific weight, your body's unhappy.
It's important to note that a choice can be
Yeah, but if the body's unhappy, what about you? Are you happy? What about what your body wants? What about what you want? What about what you want? If you look at the fucking big fat burger and you go, man, I don't want to be fat. The body says, I really want the burger. You could say, I will not eat such burger. Boom. But you eat the burger.
be harder for people to make
could
due
only
to
eat
conditions in
donuts
their
and
life.
still lose
But at
weight
the
as
end of the
long
day,
as
it's
you
still a
don't go
choice.
above your
I could say that
maintenance
I had food
calories.
addiction. I looked to food when I was stressed and this and that and this. And so it's harder for me to choose it than for someone who has like the perfect lifestyle, someone who has parents who are giving them this and that and this. But I definitely still acknowledge that it was my choice. At the end of the day, when I go there and I look and I see, should I order a second hamburger? I'm the one choosing whether or not I order that second hamburger. I'm the one making that choice.
The episode. I would rather be skinny than fat. Can the agreeers
Oh, here comes the
please
copa.
step forward?
Here comes the copa.
I think there's a lot of different.
Bad question. Bad question. It shouldn't be skinny or fat. It should be whatever else and fat. I think there's a lot of states in between fat and skinny that are acceptable, okay, and aren't really a problem whatsoever. I think people are really scared of that. I think even a lot of people sometimes in chat, they call everybody fat, okay, and sometimes I make jokes and I find myself in that category as well. My bad about that. But there is a lot of states in between those two, and that's fine.
Struggles when it comes to being a bit bigger.
Are we really
And I
going
have
to
a
listen to
sister
takes
that
about
is
this from the
very,
ultimate
like, she's
metabolism
400
possessor,
pounds.
D-Juicer? Love you X, but you could eat 3,000 calories a day and still be the skeleton king.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been like this when I was young. Also, I have a big output. I have a big
65 months, wow.
and also I have a high metabolism.
And she struggles a lot. She has lymphedema, and to shower is really, really hard. So I do think for like an overall happy life and like zero struggle, I think I'd rather be skinny.
I think that it is common in society to want to be skinny. I think the average person typically wants to be skinny. I'm actually surprised that I didn't see.
Well, also because the world is built for people that are not that fat. A lot of seats, a lot of weight limits, a lot of things, a lot of engineered things are engineered for the average about person. And when you are fat, you're working against the world. Guys, I'm not trying to be discriminative, but you're gonna see that a lot of designs are against you by design.
More people come forward on that question. People treat you better. It is what is considered
Gravity
the
hates
standard
you.
of beauty. Your life expectancy is longer. You tend to be healthier.
I'm also really tall. I'm 6'6", so I kind of wish I could just pick a single struggle, because finding the clothes and things like that when you're bigger both ways can make it really hard. So if I was skinnier, at least that's one less thing I have to worry about. But also,
Chat.
I've got 2 kids.
Okay, one of the last pauses, chat. Guys, people need to realize, okay? Your joints, your knees, the things that hold your body together between your bones and shit are all designed for a certain amount of weight, okay? When you're, chat, if you're out there, okay, and you're walking around, okay, and you have a big fucking massive backpack full of bricks, okay? These little things over here, okay, they can be big, muscular, they're holding it. Gravity's pulling down. Gravity's always pulling. If you have a big fucking, like that, right? But when you're mega, okay, you are carrying around bricks everywhere. And the gravity says, fuck you. You go, your knees, bro, it's breaking, brother. That's just the reality, though. That's just that.
And a wife.
That's
and
just
I'm
the
taking care
reality,
of
though.
them. And as you pointed
That's a
out,
fact.
I definitely think that I'm at less health risks if I'm a skinnier person, if I'm a healthier person in that capacity. And I would much rather be that so that I could be around for my kids longer.
Can the disagreeers please step forward?
Yeah, here it comes.
I'm speaking as someone who actually was a former smaller person.
Oh my God, sorry.
And
I missed the no. Very disrespectful of me. I'm replaying it, sorry. No, I'm gonna refund it.
Both ends of the spectrum are extremely unhealthy. Anorexia nervosa, obesity. There is a reason that overeating and undereating are considered unhealthy. Fat people aren't the only people receiving criticisms.
True. I met this skinny girl at the party. This creator. She has like bones. Like she's like bones, and not a lot of fat. Okay. And people cook her as much as they cook anybody. Bruh. Yeah, it was me. I met myself. I met the mirror actually. Not bad. Yeah.
Both ends of the spectrum
I'll do
are
it twice. I'll
extremely
refund it, I
unhealthy. Anorexia
Please remind me
nervosa,
if I don't.
obesity. There is a reason.
I had the most body
with the 100
insecurities
shells.
when I was small. I was constantly living in fear of gaining weight and having people tell me, oh, don't gain weight, don't do this, make sure that your weight is the same. And once I finally gained weight, I realized that first off, life wasn't over. I didn't feel any need to not engage in life the previous way that I had, and the attention that I got was different. But even as a smaller person, you get negative attention. And rather than trying to control my body to avoid that negative attention, I would prefer to address the situation as a society, make it more accessible for everybody to where we aren't feeling like I have to be a certain way that's normal in order to be treated like a human being and respected.
If I could counter, because I was a bit bigger when I was young.
Yeah, just know, guys, businesses, just everything costs. You can't make, you have to make a standard for what you do. You cannot make something to accommodate for the top whatever percent that are bigger. You're just losing out on money. So, guys, life is a business, okay? If I make t-shirts, I might make way less XXXL, and I might run out of stock faster because there's less people that are big. You can't go, oh my God, it's always out of stock. Well, I mean, brother, there's less.
And that's when I was the most.
Otherwise, I make too many. I have a lot of shirts that have been made for no reason, a lot of waste. I lose out a lot of money. It's a business.
Insecure. I would look in the mirror. I did have family members that were skinny, but then I had a family member that was much bigger. And just the way that I perceived myself, I hated it. And I even became anorexic to like not be big.
I don't think skinny always equates to being healthy.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I am fairly skinny. I'm 6'5". I'm 140 pounds last time I checked, and I'm severely underweight. And I know about this on a day-to-day basis. That being said, I don't know where I'd want to lean at an appropriate weight level, but I think it's important to understand for some skinny people, we're not living a great life by any means. And sometimes I feel like that's always kind of lost in translation when they see someone who's really skinny.
I guess it depends on what you mean when you think of the term skinny. Are you thinking of just like an average weight person, or are you thinking of?
Yeah, the question
average weight
sucked.
for like women
I
in America.
weigh
So
138.
if we're talking about an average, like I'm gonna be the
Depending on the season and what I'm doing, I'll go from like 125 to like 150 in a span of like a month.
closest.
And I'll gain
if
lose
your
it really
biggest
fast.
priority is to be in a smaller body, you need to reassess your priorities.
Yeah.
Not focused on health.
my
And the
biggest I've ever
immediate
been is
tie between
152.
skinniness and health, like you emphasized. There is such a gap between the research, because the research has a huge fat phobic bias in it, and there has been research that shows that they aren't, even especially during, let's say, COVID and the correlation between obesity. They rushed through those studies so fast because in society's mind, oh, of course a fat person is going to equal someone who's going to get sick faster, is going to get sick easier. It was an easy jump. So they didn't do all of the testing that they were supposed to do. They didn't check their bias.
So
They
if
didn't
by
check.
saying the study is biased, you're saying that the study didn't account for the variable that obesity may also take a factor into. It's just that there's so many variables.
She blame people, blame the upbringing, blame her parents, blame fast food, blame COVID, blame the scientists, blame society. Brother, at one point, guys, like, I gotta keep it a buck. You're gonna have to fucking find something.
Humanity that these pharmaceutical companies could only account
Fat
for
isn't
so
healthy,
many.
Heather. That people say, oh, I am healthy. Obesity is not healthy, nor do I find it aesthetically pleasing. This new movement has ruined people's minds. Any doctor will tell you, you cannot be obese, anorexic, and healthy.
During their trials, and that doesn't necessarily mean that they're biased. However, if you want to talk about bias in studies, actually recently we've been doing the opposite. So for instance, a lot of our studies have been based on BMI, and so we've been showing that, fat people aren't necessarily extremely unhealthy if we look at people with a certain BMI. However, bodybuilders also have a really high BMI, and so they get counted into that category, and so it wasn't until very recently that they equated for that mistake, and it shows, oh my goodness, being fat is actually extremely unhealthy, like way, way more unhealthy than we ever realized.
You can't gauge health by looking at somebody.
Yeah.
Like none of my health issues, all of them precipitated my weight gain, but I always.
Man, the copium, brother, I feel like with this much copium, it's crazy that some of them are still standing.
Get assumed. Oh, don't you want to be
I thought one
skinny
of
so
them
that you
passed
don't
out
have
by
a cane
now.
anymore and you don't feel the way you feel? And it's like, no, because I have lupus and I'm always going to feel like this.
gonna happen
Like I
no
have
matter what.
CRPS. It's going to deteriorate. It's going to continue.
It's like Cobra in the hot
America
box.
has an obesity problem.
Well, I mean, no shit.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's pretty clear. You look at the weight of the average American, you see how obesity has affected not just children. I mean, the fact that we have more younger and younger people who are looking heavier and heavier, and you see that, like, you know, the way that weight affects us as a society, and you compare that to how we were in the past. Now, not
Chat, eating enough when it's fast food is way too cheap. So of course people are gonna eat more. They're incentivized to do so. And also for the money that you're putting in when it comes to fast food, I mean, you can get fucking fat for nothing. Okay, so obviously the trends are the system is built against you. It is what it is.
not that we should always, we shouldn't compare ourselves to the era of the Great Depression when people just couldn't find food, of course. But people are heavier now in an unhealthy way, and people are eating unhealthy. They are eating it through unhealthy access to food. They're eating diets high in seed oils. They're eating high.
Chad is saying not anymore, brother. You can still get your big gulp for like a fucking $1. Okay. A big gulp, you drink one a day, you are fat as fuck.
Corn syrup. They're doing all this kind of stuff that's not good for them that we didn't used to do, and it's bad. It's not a good thing. It's an epidemic. It needs to be quashed in some capacity.
There's so much access to just anything.
Yeah.
Like, it's so crazy these days, and I'm so surprised that we're actually supporting a lot of this, you know, and there's always people like, you know, like it's fine that we have like 3 McDonald's like on the same street. And it's just like, we don't think that this is adding to the problem.
What I think is really sad about that is so many people in America just see the profit in it. I don't want to say I know that these people know the problem, but it's like, how can you not see the problem? They have to see it and just not care. They have to just be like, well, we're gaining profit. Do you see how much this McDonald's is making? Put another.
I mean, what are they gonna do? Change the menus to more expensive on purpose? Sell more salads, replace the menu? I mean,
Going across the street, like that's just like
It's not
how it
even
is.
just the corporations, it's the
Yeah.
medical industry. Having a fat country makes us money.
It doesn't help that our cities aren't walkable either.
Yeah,
America is a country of non-walkable cities.
That is why I wavered a little bit because
That's actually-
I think we
that's
have
decent,
a
actually.
problem with
That's a decent
how
argument.
to
Decent
treat
argument, pretty good,
obesity.
actually. True.
I think we have a problem with how to make it so that it is not an epidemic. This is a systemic thing that we are in a society and in an environment that breeds this, and we are doing it to ourselves. We are doing it to our children, and our corporations and our industries are doing it to
Laval,
us, and they
Montreal
aren't
is
having to take
so walkable.
responsibility. for
And
it.
they're encouraging it with media. So
And the
like,
mukbangs, I was literally gonna bring that up. The mukbangs and like all those videos that just come up
Yeah,
to
it's
trends for people
not
to do
only
it as
the
well.
mukbangs, but also like Lizzo and other big like media.
I'm sorry. There's a
That's a
very
different-
big difference between the people who are telling people go out and get fat versus a
I love
Lizzo
myself
who's saying
fat.
accept me
Yeah.
the way I am.
She's not just saying it.
No, not really. Just no, I don't necessarily agree.
Accept me the way I am. She's dressing extremely scantily.
Because the message is rarely just accept me the way I am. It's rarely just that. The message is usually loaded with other copium mechanism, and it spreads copium to other people like fucking like wildfire.
Like clad, and then saying
not
if
the
you
same at all.
don't think that it's normal for a morbidly obese person to be wearing a G-string in the middle of public, then you're the problem. And they're trying to normalize society to this obese culture, which is extremely unhealthy. And
What is an obese culture?
a culture which like normalizes
I'm obese
obesity.
and I haven't even heard that.
Well, obesity is already
Fat
normal,
people are
so
funny, who
It's.
cares?
Well, I don't think it should be normalized, and it wasn't normal.
But
just a
what's
couple
the
decades
difference
ago.
You do realize people refuse to take accountability for their actions, even if all these problems, walkability, were remedied. Obesity would still be a problem due to the fact that when it comes down to it, people do not care about their well-being.
Yeah, thanks for the 100. The reality is that, listen, I gotta be honest with you. I have to go against you a little bit on this one. It's that people don't care about their well-being that much. Is that a lot of people, economically, like, just the economics, they can't almost like afford to. I understand that they eat more than they should. It makes a lot of sense. It's still by choice, but still, it's really the difference between overeating is not that big when it comes, you go to fast food. If you like finish your fries and shit and your big gulp and your large soda, bro, you're getting fat. That's just reality. That's just the reality of it. Yeah.
Between a obese person,
eating that many
myself
calories
walking around in
healthily
a
is
G-string
expensive.
or a
Way more
bathing
expensive.
suit, as I do almost every day, and a skinny person, like, is it okay that the skinny person is doing that?
I don't think so, but
I
that's,
don't think
that's for other reasons. probably.
I get the whole public thing.
Which is say that when Lizzo does it is the same as a Victoria's Secret angel.
Why
It's just not
shouldn't
the
it be,
same.
though? Yeah, what's the
'Cause
difference?
What you
Now,
mean?
please.
Are you telling me they look?
34.
You're telling me it doesn't.
I'm not saying they look the same.
Well,
but
I
I'm
mean,
saying
Lizzo
like,
goes on
That's the
stage.
implication. So if I walk down the street, I'm a runway model. I'm a print and runway model. I have walked down a runway in a thong. So me doing that is shameful, but a skinny model is okay.
Nobody said shameful.
I didn't. I don't know if I use the phrase shameful.
Problematic.
But I don't think that.
Nobody says it's problematic. If you're selling a product that's targeted towards big people and you're big wearing it, that's fantastic. You're just marketing the product. The thing is whenever you're selling clothes that are like tailored to look skinny, whatever, and like, oh, I'm fat as fuck. I'm gonna go and fat the fuck on this clothes, yo. Yo, guys, look. Well, that's just not. The reality is that you're not hitting your targets. If you're not gonna be hired for that job, a lot of times I don't know.
We
I'm
as a
waffling.
society should be modeling obesity.
But I'm not modeling obesity. I'm modeling the lingerie that obese people need to be able to have availability to buy. Yeah.
So they've always had the ability to buy
we have not.
lingerie.
If you go to Torrid,
No,
a single
we
underwear is
have
like
not.
almost $20.
Yeah.
and you go to like any other Walmart, any Target, and like all these underwears are on special for like $5 to like $20 and stuff.
Well, it
and
does
it's
take
like
more fabric to make it.
Yeah,
it does take more fabric to
They
make
use
it,
that
but
as an
it's-
excuse, but
that
you
would-
make yards of fabric
Yeah.
for gowns. You, like,
Is a
it's-
small
it's-
a different price than an extra large or a large?
It is.
And
yeah,
we're willing-
for 3XL shirts, I got to pay more money.
I think people view models and Instagram people and all of us who are plus size and proud as we're pushing this obese lifestyle.
Chat, you guys, I realized that, chat. Whenever I bought like the Louis Vuitton fucking thing for Jesse, I think it was like a 2XL. They didn't even have his size. They a lot of designers, they stop at 2XL. They don't go to 3 or 4. Almost all of them. Well, guys, I'm just saying, guys, I love Jesse to death, okay? But when I bought his thing, I just realized his jag was fucking massive, okay? It was the same price as the other one, and I realized, holy fuck, it's like almost 40% more fabric. Think about that.
No, I'm pushing the fact that this is what I live in. This is my life, and I need other people who feel this way to say, hey, I want to be able to wear clothes that look cute too.
I do think there's a problem with obesity in America, but I think it's a first world country problem because it's spread across the globe. And also, I don't see it as a problem. I do feel like health-wise, people should try to be healthier, but there's no perfect body. There's no perfect person. There's no perfect size. And there's people who are underweight. There's a lot of them. And then there's a lot of people who are overweight. So I really don't see it as like a problem. But just to touch on what you were saying, because I am in the fashion.
A problem, brother. People have to fucking drive carts to fucking Walmart, do the beep beep to go around and shop for their shit, brother. Like that in of itself is a problem, dude. Meep meep. Like what the fuck?
In the industry, I wanted to become a fashion designer. My dad was one, and they buy 10 rolls of fabric for one price. So it really doesn't cost that much to make underwear.
Sure, but don't you
No,
also
it's
have
a
to
real
worry about
thing.
distribution? I mean, if
Yes, there are people that still need meat meat. Well, even though they're not fat, but just a fact. It sounds like a whatever problem. Just the fact that you need to have a parking for the I don't know what it's called. For the big ones, is a problem they have to find a solution for. That is costly. It is a big cost for a problem, and you compound all those problems. It is a problem. What means not a problem?
if the average person is, let's say, in between small, medium, large, and you're sending clothes out for those, you know you could send out 10,000 of this, 10,000 of that, 10,000 of that. You can't always send out 10,000 3XLs because you're not going to have that many people fitting in the 3XL.
That's no, what I because said. There's somebody who works in marketing and they research that area. Mm-hmm. There's a census. Okay. So we have a database of what type of people are there. Now we don't know who's going in there, but we know the type of people that live in that area and the type of the people that come and visit the area. So that person is doing their job accordingly, and usually large sizes are sold out.
Okay, so somebody brought up the food desert earlier.
Well, then they did their job wrong, bruh. Then they didn't do their job correctly. Well, she was cooking, then she wasn't.
Earlier, I can't even think of an area that would have a so-called food desert.
Sorry, can someone explain, like maybe just for my ignorance, I'm guessing a food desert is just there's no food anywhere?
No, it's healthy options for food. So you can go into certain low-income areas and you'll see a Starbucks, a McDonald's, a Chick-fil-A, but...
Lady, wait, hold on. Starbucks is not cheap, bruh. Starbucks as a cheap food, bruh. The mate latte is fucking like $8. Hello?
There's no Trader Joe's.
A food desert, actually properly, there isn't any, like for a long period of driving, there's one gas station and a liquor store. Then you have to drive 2 more miles to hit the next grocery store.
But with the food desert, it's not just that there can be a grocery store there, but if I'm making minimum wage, I'm not gonna spend all of my money on what is gonna last me 2 meals versus what's gonna last me an entire week.
Yes.
Or if I'm on EBT and I have specific things that I have to choose to buy versus what I can't buy.
What is an
born and raised in Colorado.
EBT?
In the outskirts, there's so many small towns
Electronic
that you don't
benefit
even know that they're there.
transfer.
Most of them you won't see on a map, but if you're from there, then you'll know, and they all have to drive a decent amount to be able to go to an actual grocery store.
Hello? Guys. Electronic system allows state welfare departments to issue benefits via magnetically coded payment card. Average monthly EBT is $230.
But how often are you going grocery shopping? Maybe like once every 2 weeks would be typically normal.
Okay, hold up. Don't know. I guess old fat person here and I don't know.
It's bullshit. I grew up on it. Choosing unhealthy options is a choice. She literally just said she chooses to eat unhealthy. Ep is food stamps, dummy.
Whoa. Do not call me dummy. Fatzo. I'm sorry about this.
Also, you have to do a drive
once a week.
So you're making a drive once a week, once every 2 weeks.
Not a lot of people have
drive
access to the
like
time.
what if I don't have a car?
I was like, I don't drive.
even
And
drive.
if you don't have, usually these food deserts also have very poor public transportation options.
Yep,
So
like in the
you are
mountains.
left with people who are stranded.
Yeah, but then what are they eating at all?
Yeah,
Unhealthy crap.
Like,
no, but how are they
what-
surviving
what,
at
they're going through
all?
the drive-through. They don't got a car to go to.
Yeah,
the drive-thru. How are
exactly.
They usually, what I've seen when I go to
Oh, K-Twiggy Smalls.
those rural towns and those rural places is they have chickens and they have animals.
Right.
And guess what? You can get some healthy
Healthy.
food out of that. That's
That
like,
sounds healthy.
having eggs and protein and things like that. I think I would be healthier if I lived rurally. In fact, my wife and I are trying to leave the state so we're not near all the Uber Eats and all the
I grew up in a town of 500. The obesity problem there was not as significant as, say, in LA. And we talk about like food deserts and stuff. The nearest Walmart where I grew up was 45 minutes in any direction. The nearest McDonald's was nowhere near to be seen for a long time. So when I hear these,
Oh, dude. Canada had McDonald's inside of the Walmart. We had inside McDonald's. Inside, that was crazy.
there could be some evidence there as like the obesity problem is very low lift.
Were there grocery stores in your small town?
I could buy dog shit while eating dog shit.
I'm like kind of baffled by the fact
Thank you.
Maybe I just need to go out there and like experience the food deserts, but like there was grocery stores where I grew up. Just because we lived in the middle of nowhere doesn't mean we didn't have access to food. And actually, and I have to agree, we did have access to healthy food. Very healthy food all the time. I don't think this is big of an issue in my personal opinion.
Fat shaming is worse than skinny shaming.
Not true. Both bad.
So I do agree that fat shaming is worse.
Both bad, and I still do both. Okay? I still do both because nobody in this should be a protected class. Okay? In my opinion, we should protect short people more than we protect fat or skinny people. Yet we don't. So I don't want to hear anybody about saying fat shaming is bad. Oh my God, I'm going to cancel for this. If we don't do it first to people that are short because they can't fucking change their height,
save up money for
but you can change your weight. You're just fucking lazy. Okay? Until we stop doing height shaming, I will do fat shaming and skinny shaming. And any other argument is fucking brain dead.
But the minute a fat person makes fun of a skinny person or someone struggling with anorexia bulimia, it's oak.
Worse than skinny shaming. Just
True.
overall, entirely, the way that people like comment on people's weight compared to somebody skinny, they usually don't comment on somebody skinny. They don't think there's something wrong with them. They don't, like they'll maybe say like, oh, you're very thin, do you want to eat a cheeseburger? But that's not as bad as telling somebody you eat 10, stop. And you don't even know that they're eating 10.
Well, that is libtard taken. That's brain rot take, black mold taken.
Say like, oh, comment on somebody skinny. They don't think there's something wrong with them. They don't, like they'll maybe say like, oh, you're very thin, do you want to eat a cheeseburger? But that's not as bad as telling somebody you eat 10, stop. And you don't even know that they're eating 10.
Fat shaming is a systemic problem. You're not gonna not get a job because you're too skinny.
And how do you not know that somebody
35
skinny
months
isn't even
xQcow.
eating one? You can apply. The basis of an argument is the sheer number. That's it. That's it.
Skinny bodies
the
are
number
praised
that you're
in our
putting
society,
behind.
whereas fat bodies, like I don't get it as often as other people, but I get a lot of comments on my Instagram that are saying like, you're really beautiful, but you would look a lot better if you lost 50, 60 pounds.
True. I mean, sorry, I wasn't thinking.
Something that I always get a lot of comments on is my masculinity as a man because of how skinny I am. It's always something that I've always kind of dealt with. My favorite comment is always I look like a sickly, ill Victorian child. And
that's horrible.
Sorry, I don't mean to laugh at that.
No. I don't. It doesn't bother me as much, but this idea that skinny people can't also get these kind of comments are just kind of mind blowing. That doesn't mean that they're, that one side is getting it worse than the other. I think that there are both sides getting piled on, just at different varying degrees.
I think we're conflating two things as well. So there's
Yeah, say what you want about me, chat, okay? True about everything, chat, okay? But some of the baddies though, they like a nice skeleton twig femboy twink. And there's more like that than they like the big balls. So I don't give a fuck.
the difference between fat shaming and fat discrimination. Fat shaming is an aspect of fat discrimination, but some of the things you were touching on are specifically societal and systemic fat discrimination that goes into our medical system, it goes into employment, it goes into all of our civil rights. As fat people, that skinny people don't necessarily have that same issue. And I come from cultures where they straight out called out skinny people. Oh, you look like bones, oh, flaca, all of that. So I watched my cousins go through it. I went through it when I would get too skinny. As people, we are just too scrutinized when it comes to our bodies. We don't let people live.
But I think that's a good point. You said you were called skin and bones when you got
my cousin.
But your cousin. So people using shame as a motivator to get your cousin to not be too skinny. Shame as a motivator is a powerful tool. So the reason I sit over there is fat shaming worse than skinny shaming. Well, you could argue that shaming somebody in order to motivate them towards a healthy lifestyle is actually a good thing.
Even if the people don't, okay, something, Chad, this is gonna sound really, really insensitive, but I can't stress enough, chat. Guys, life is fat shaming. Life itself, okay? Your knees are fat shaming you when you are fat. You go to the airplane, you sit down, the seat is fat shaming you, okay? You walk around, the wood in your house is fat. I walk around, you hear nothing. You're massive and you walk around on the wooden floor. It's almost, it's cracking. It's saying, yo, get off of my back, bitch. You are fat. Literally, the ground itself is fat shaming you. What about it?
Now, I have a lot of empathy because hearing your story about how you've been struggling with this since you were a child.
Since I was like a newborn baby, like health, just everything's just been on that end where I've never known anything about being skinny or being fit or being athletic. I've never known anything about that.
Probably your situation, I don't think shame necessarily would motivate you, but for somebody where it is a option. So for instance, if you watch TLC, you watch My 600-Pound Life.
It can be a motivator. For a lot of people, it is motivation. Some people literally stay alive. Literally to prove some of the fucking bitches wrong.
Amazing
literally.
take.
I respect it.
1,000-Pound Sisters, Family by the Ton. All of them can do it. All of them have had this systemic issue of weight gain.
I have watched.
Guys, you know what? We're watching a video of Crip Max saying, "Don't commit suicide, brother. You never have to worry about me, okay, brother? I got too many bitches to prove wrong, okay? And I know for a fact that me being alive angers them, and just that is enough for me to stay alive, okay? Flat out. I know that just me talking, having a platform makes them mauled, and I want to see them suffer, so I stay alive for them. Pussy, indefinitely.
As a younger person,
that's it.
It would make me feel disgusted with me when I was a kid, so it would make me worse, and it made my mental health worse. Because then I'm like, is that how like everybody automatically views me as just like somebody who's oversized and could possibly never even attain it because it's so just common.
I don't think we should shame anyone to do anything. No. I think everyone deserves to like themselves enough to like enjoy life. Mm-hmm. And if you do that as a fat person, okay. If you do it as a skinny person, also chill. It's not my business.
Shame is a broad category. I do think shame works in some cases. I think that there has been good fat shaming towards me and bad fat shaming. Bad fat shaming is just, somebody just saying, you're fat, things like that. That doesn't really work. But what does work is somebody looking at me and saying, don't you want to be around for your kids?
So you live out of hate and spite? Are you happy?
Not what I said. I live on my own terms, out of my own happiness. But what I'm saying, if I ever hit rock bottom, I know that some bitches get mauled. It's even a motivator. It's an extra motivation to fucking hold on.
And that worked. That worked.
Yeah, like, do you consider that shaming?
I do. I think that's shaming. I think they were telling me like you should lose weight to be around for your children. I think that's shaming. Like an attempt to like try and say something bad about me.
Like they're personalizing it towards you and towards your kids. Like,
sure.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, but I think that worked. I think that worked. That really encouraged me to go to the gym and start trying to lose weight.
But that's you though.
Sure. Like, I think you have to be specific to the person.
I think that's one thing is it depends on the person.
Sure.
And if someone wants to shame me and like, you know, it depends on the person. I've been shamed a couple times and it's kicked me into gear to try to gain weight, but it's
rejection by default is part of shaming, and that's a good thing. Okay, if you meet a lot of people, okay, and you're too big for them, and they reject you, okay, that's shaming by default, and it might make you do a change if they need to get more accepted. I don't want you to say not true. It is true. It is by default shaming. It's just not as outright and deliberate, and it's not a lot of people are gonna say, I'm not gonna get with you because you are fucking fat. Okay, it's still indirect shaming. It is
still really hard,
and it's fine.
And it's, you know, it depends on who you are, I think.
When you were making a comment about people questioning your masculinity, I get the question of actually looking like a woman all the time, and it's always in play. I always get compared to like male characters, especially when I don't wear makeup, and that's because I don't have boobs, and I can't help that, but it's definitely really, really hard to like have people tell you constantly, like, here's the standard of how a woman should look and you don't look like that, without even saying it. They don't say it, they're categorizing me. They're making fun of me, saying that I look like this one soccer player or something. And you know, I think it's funny, but also shame can also be hard, because I can see what you mean. Sometimes it can really motivate you when it's out of love.
Yes.
But when it's
yes, understood. But you can't change that. I understand there's surgery, but that you shouldn't go to these recourse. Okay. Boob size, you can't change that unless you go way out and whatever. But comparing that to weight, which most of the time you can't do something about it, it's just a disingenuous argument. Because it's just a disingenuous argument. It's like comparing height to weight. There's nothing you can do when you're short. There's nothing you can do.
Shame can also be hard, because I can see what you mean. Sometimes it can really motivate you when it's out of love,
yes,
but when it's out of
the
pain, and when it's out of like not knowing someone and just saying it, then
the people who said that to me about my kids were not just some random guy online. It was people who were close to me and I knew cared about me, who I had a conversation with. So I do think it matters who says it, but I still would consider it to an extent shaming. And I'm okay with that. I think there is good shame. I think sometimes it helps motivate.
Yo, how do you show people? How do you think people feel? Okay, when okay, I'm gonna get weird. Okay, when they're fucking and they have to be on their tippy toes to get the correct angle, they get shamed by just biology, dude. But they can't do anything about it. They have to tippy toe, man. They have to fucking get a little stool, bro. It's fuck, man.
People in the right way.
The body positivity movement promotes
Can you
childhood
stop skipping
obesity.
my way through code?
Spent my life savings. Really love what you stand for, and really enjoy when you speak your mind. Where to find someone with common sense? Please consider starting a podcast. Have a great stream.
Oh, thank you much.
xQc.
Thanks for honey. I mean, I make jokes because it's a stream at the same time, but I think some of my thoughts are decent sometimes.
Promotes childhood obesity.
Thank you, Felix. No problem.
Diet culture has positive effects.
I'd rather trust someone justifying
Guys,
being
what the
fat
fuck is
than
it? Diet
someone
culture?
who
No,
gives
because I don't even know what.
$100 to a millionaire.
Because I don't even know what that is.
Has positive effects.
Dude, chat.
I guess for me,
here's the video idea. Okay, stop the fucking buzzword spamming. Now it's like something shaming, something phobia, something culture, for everything. I don't even know what the fuck, dude. I don't even know what's going on anymore.
Diet culture is an important thing to have for people in the world. What I've realized after we're about to finish this up is there wasn't a lot of talk on skinny culture or like skinny people as a whole. Maybe that's because of how the prompt is.
I'm gonna skip the prompt because I don't give a fuck. It's a buzzword that they made up, and people don't even understand the question.
And you're always gonna get those people who have the perfect answer. They have the perfect solution to.
It's usually a fad diet is what we're talking about when we're talking about diet culture. And for me personally, I know that I've seen a lot of, especially women in my life, going on fad diets that are just not sustainable, and that's
okay. What the fuck is a fat diet? What the fuck am I listening to? What is a fat diet, dude? That's just
kind of the purpose of diet culture, is that it's not a sustainable thing.
But we're all talking about like mainstream, like keto, like gluten-free, and I think it's everyone's just polarized on these certain ones that I believe that you should eat gluten. I think if you take it out of your diet, you're actually going to get sick.
Unless you are
celiacs, no, like yeah.
It goes back to like what she said, which is intuitive eating.
So what is the positive you think you've seen for people from diet culture, which I think, and I guess, what do you consider diet culture?
I guess like diet culture to me is the resources you need to get to where you want to be in your life, in your body. That's how I've always viewed diet culture.
By dieting, do you mean like journaling what you're eating?
Yeah, if you want to journal, if you want to, talk to a therapist, if you want to work out, if you want to see a doctor, if you want to go on meds, like everyone's
but
always...
it's not being super, like when you diet, you're not being like, I'm completely cutting out carbs or I'm completely doing this, right?
You're lemon water only.
You're like watching your macros and your micros and you're calculating
like, I guess if you're asking if I know how many calories I have to eat, yeah, like I have to eat like 4,000 a day.
When most people talk about diet culture, they've done some sort of extremely restrictive thing, and when you do something really restrictive, it changes your brain chemistry and the way that you think about food, and it makes you obsessive over food, and then, but it sounds like the way that you're doing it is extremely healthy because you're not depriving your body of something.
But isn't that just goes back to like, you guys are talking about the extremes of diet culture?
Diet culture is one thing, and then a healthy lifestyle,
having a
and
healthy
intuitive
diet
eating type
is
thing
different.
are two different things.
All right.
I personally don't think of living a healthy lifestyle as a diet.
You've been in like model spheres. Do you see diet culture and how has it impacted space?
There was a point in my life, like when I was a junior in high school, where the person that I was with at the time, he's like 6'6" and super tall. And so, the mom was like, hey, like my son is gonna go audition to this big agency, which is still big to this day, and you should come. So I went, and I weighed 115 pounds, and I was a D cup, and they said that I weighed too much. And so seeing that really struck me in the beginning with the negative part of...
If you want all the jobs, okay, if you go to a job offer that's for plus size, okay, and you're too skinny, well, you don't get the job. Just don't apply to super thin job offers if you're not thin enough. The first one didn't tell you to know. Oh! Yo, you're crazy. Thanks for the 200 pine trees. Much love. Thanks for the 200. You never done anything.
Dieting, and just kind of went into this spiral of like, okay, well, if I'm too big, then what?
Chat, here's an argument. Chat. Guys, I just saw a job offer, chat, for hand modeling, okay? And look, chat, I eat my fingers. Look, oh my God. Look, chat, I didn't get the job. What the fuck? I have a mental illness that makes me chew my fingers. That's mental illness toenail shaming. Weird. Well, of course not, motherfucker. I'm
what
not
are
qualified
people
for that
doing
job.
to not
End of story.
be this size? Like how can I make it to do what I want to do if this is my limitation to it? It took years later to realize, like, shit, I was really disciplining myself for no apparent reason except for this underlying feeling from years ago that I could never get rid of. When you're talking about like discipline, I think it can be really positive with dieting and like intaking your calories, but for me personally, and I'm a very specific case, seeing those numbers and knowing that I couldn't achieve it because I didn't have the appetite was also just so saddening to me, because reading the bare minimum of what a woman needs 5'5" at my age, I was like, that's not that much, and I still couldn't eat it at the time, and I'm like, what's wrong with me? There's different ways to motivate people, and one of them is out of pain and anger, and
there are different job openings though for the different
I feel like
classes.
a lot of the diet culture, whether it's for positive or negative, is just trying to gear into that. And you know, I just am more about being healthy.
I hear diet and I think of something that's positive, and it's been positive to me, and you know, it's something I'm always trying to achieve.
Guys, if I'm trying to sell something that looks really good on girls that have big breasts, okay, and I engineer this thing that has like a nice model, whatever, and the model has like a cup, whatever. Well, I'm sorry, yo, you're not getting the job. I want this to be appealing to the people that my target audience is. And it's not you. You don't get the job. Womp womp. What the fuck else? I mean, that's just what it is. Unlucky, no job for this. There are plenty of other job opportunities.